Hello, welcome to a new edition to It's All About the Dogs. I'm your host, George Philip Quinlan, and this is our first show of the new season, and we have a great season planned for you folks. We're going to get you folks involved with this. I hope that you will contact the station or contact me directly and make some suggestions on things that you would like to see in the show. This season started off because I made a choice that I wanted to start off this season with a bang. So I brought back one of my favorite photographers, and she's going to talk to us about what she can do for you if you're interested in keeping your dog around for a lot longer, years and years and years after they pass on. As we know, they're not with us very long, and we have a certain attachment to the dogs. And I know I love looking on the wall and seeing some of my pictures of my old Bouviers and my other dogs. So I want to start the show this season off by introducing Dawn. Dawn Norris is going to talk to us a little bit about the photography work that she has done in the past and where she's going with it now. I have notes here because I'm just really impressed with this, because Dawn has trained on the National Geographic photographers Joe McNally, Nevada Wire, and John Isaacs and Roy Toft. Some of those names you may not recognize, but if you watch National Geographic or see some of the videos and so on, pictures, that you may see their names show up now that we've mentioned it and brought it to your attention. Welcome, Dawn. I really love the fact that you're here.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And what I'd like for you to do is talk about one of the things that I loved about your work is, and I know it directly because I was competing with my dog one day, and you gave me this beautiful picture, and I had no idea that you were even there taking the pictures. Mm-hmm. And whoa, speaking of, I know when my dog is here, that's for sure. So how are you able to do that? How are you able to get pictures of a dog, in this case, a high competition, right in the middle of a trial, mm-hmm. that could be really, really upset me if you disturb my dog in the middle of something? How do you transfer that? How are you able to do that? And it must be an asset to you when you're taking portraits of family dogs, mm-hmm. because family dogs get really excitable as it is.
Yes, yes.
So,
well, the trial work is really great because there are always spectators there. So what I try to do is really blend in. I use equipment that keeps me at a distance, but inevitably in the final product, looks like I'm right there in the action. Sure. My lenses are like my brushes, like any kind of artist. I have to pick the right tools to get what I want in a result. My goal is to work in a manner that makes me invisible. Some people call me the ninja photographer because they always forget that I'm there. I'm very quiet. And I always get permission before things start rolling from participants, particularly in the dog sport world, that it's okay that I'm there. And, and being respectful if they don't want me to photograph their dog. I don't think I've ever had someone ask me not to photograph their dog, because they
photograph me.
Yeah, and that I hear a lot. Can you take a few pounds off? Can you add a little hair there? But yeah, I mean, it really is, like you said, it's all about the dogs and anticipating them.
Is this the lens that you?
This is one of my go-to lenses. It is on a Canon 5D Mark II body, and this is a 100 to 400. It's a little old school. It's well used, well loved, and it's a 100 to 400, so I can make it bigger. And the running joke is when the people see me on the edge of the field, it's about the size of my upper body. Sure. And I had Steve ask me a great question, why I have the ring on the top of the camera, because I do a lot of hand holding because I'm moving around constantly. Yep, I'm up and down a lot. This has an image stabilizer in it, and this gives me the leverage to carry this big tank around so I don't fall over.
So normally that would be in the bottom for a tripod.
Yeah, yep, and I use it to kind of give me an extra balance on, counterbalance. So it gives me quick access, so I can be down on the ground laying on my belly. I can be squatting down. I can lean on a side of, some kind of wall or building, and stabilize myself in addition to what the lens inherently comes with. But my goal is to blend in and really show these dogs doing what they do best in a natural environment. More observational, work, documentary type work versus posed work.
Again, candid shots in
Yes.
the home or candid shots with family and their pets
Yep.
are really the ones that make the difference.
Right.
You can always see a pose.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I'll give you a great example, if I may. We took my grandson in to have photographed son, and of course you're trying to do it. The
Yeah.
baby. He was tiny.
Yeah.
You know, he just wasn't. He was just all upset. He was like wasn't playing the role. He wasn't
Yeah.
cooperating. Little bugger, I smacked him around. No, I'm kidding. But at one point, the photographer decided to stop, and my wife went over and kneeled down, and the baby walked up to her and just hugged and embraced. And I looked at the photographer immediately. I said, "Now,
Yeah.
stop filming right now."
Right.
Because this is
Natural.
what we want. We want the natural shots. We don't want that he's going. I hope that's not a close-up, guys.
Yeah.
but you know my point.
Yeah, exactly.
And those are the ones that we still have on the wall.
Yeah.
That a quality frame because that's what it's about. It talks about that. Same thing with people with their dogs.
Yes.
I imagine.
Yes.
I want my dog to be not because I told him to lay down here
Right.
next to me.
Yeah.
I want him to lay down. Correct me if I'm wrong. My thinking that what you're doing is you're going to get this is a natural down.
Yep.
This is a dog that just decided, okay, I'm chilling.
Yep.
That photograph compared to me telling him, of course he gets up after
Yeah.
I said
He
that.
heard
right?
a noise.
And compared to couche down, right?
Yeah.
Stay,
Yep.
and you get the dog sitting there staring at the camera.
Right.
As pretty as they might be,
Yep.
they're more of an alert.
Right. Which can be great, like in the dog sport, in
Yes.
ring sport, in their positions.
Yes.
It shows the regal innateness of the dog being dialed in and alert. And then there's after the participants are done and they have that genuine connectedness of excitement, like congratulations, you worked really hard, and you get the dog licking the handler on the cheek or giving a
Right, the
kiss
more
on the
passive,
or like the nice snuggle and rub. And it goes from one extreme to the other. It's telling a story through my images that I really want to show and demonstrate.
Well, that makes sense because your background is wildlife photography.
Yep.
And with the wildlife photography, I think you have some photographs.
I do.
And
yep.
with the wildlife photography, you can't be close. It has to be candid.
Yes, and this the first ones that I'm going to show you are some wolves that I photographed at Wolf Hollow in Ipswich, Massachusetts. Most people don't know about this amazing sanctuary for wolves. It's incredible. The people who staff it are amazing, and the wolves are just breathtaking.
North Shore, Massachusetts.
Yes,
Right?
yep. So I did some photography of them in the late fall of 2013, and then I just recently came back at the beginning of this early winter 2015. And man, they love the snow. The colder the weather, the better
Look at that
it
coat.
is.
That's a winter coat.
Yeah. So when I first arrived, the very first time I photographed these dogs, I was ahead of schedule. So I got out of the car, and you can't see the wolves when you get there. There's a lot of barricades. There's double fencing. They can't have a visual on you. But I did learn the intrinsic things that they have for survival and how they just tend to get along in life is scent.
Sure.
And I opened the back of my truck, and I have dogs with me all the time, so they must have smelled me and my dogs, and all of a sudden I heard the howling.
Uh-huh.
And it was like this amazing symphony, and it was so primal and so beautiful. And people will say to me, gosh, weren't you afraid? I said, I was frozen in just awe.
Yes.
It was one of the most beautiful things I'd ever heard. And
You
they
can
were
understand why people be afraid of it.
Yeah,
if they
it's-
heard it out in the wild
yeah,
and stuff. But
and it resonates deeply with you. It's a deep
Absolutely, it's
vibration. It's a
amazing.
sound that you can't mimic or recreate. When you're hearing it live, unfiltered on a really cold weather day
Yep.
with no wind blowing, it is spectacular. It is eerie, but it is so core of where dogs come from, one, but just how they protect each other as a pack, and they communicate. And it was just incredible. And
from
they
what I
welcomed
understand,
me.
you're going to be doing some work out at Wolf Park and Battleground Indiana.
I'm hoping to. I've signed up. I had to delay it due to some personal circumstances, but I'm excited to work with Monty and the crew there and go inside. You get to go in the fences and work with them. And I know you've done that as well for way back.
Please give my best to them. Pat
Yeah.
Goodman is one of my favorite people. Pat Goodman taught me the greatest thing. My background started with a long time ago with laboratory dogs.
Yep.
But I went right into wildlife, and I worked with as a zookeeper, and I worked with personal study work with wolves.
Yeah.
And I did my internship out at Wolf Park in 1996.
Wow.
A long time ago. It's been 19 years. And it was during the winter, and it was the breeding season. I
Yeah.
did my internship as a breeding season. I always chose the overnight shift because I liked being alone with the wolves out there and listening to them. And my job was you can't observe too much at night. So my job was to work on my other senses, and that was sound.
Yeah.
And I got to hear the howling and got to watch the rallies, and it was absolutely phenomenal. But I want to share this one quick moment about Pat Goodman, because Pat's one of my favorite people. She's very low key. She doesn't scream, pay attention to me. But she draws your attention to her. And we were out, and it was about 5:45 in the morning, maybe around that time, anyhow, early in the morning, and she and I were watching these wolves. And I saw this wolf do something, and this has stayed with me for life. This has been with me ever since in everything I do with animals now. And I pass this on to my clients. We watched this wolf do something, and I looked at Pat and I said, Pat, I whispered real soft because I didn't want to disturb the wolves, you know? And I said, why do you think he did that? And she, as calm and as cool as anybody I've ever seen do anything in my life, folded her arms and just calmly looked out at the wolves and didn't look at me. She looked at the wolves and went, I don't know. It was brilliant. It was gorgeous. And she looked at me, she goes, I can tell you what I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But why he did it, I don't. But it was absolutely, I've never forgot that. And I tell my students all the time when they say, why did my dog do this? And I go, no. And I think of Pat and I said, I don't know. So, wolves are a fascinating creature, and I think that's really a challenge for you to get your photography work, because I know in parks and stuff, people get upset because they can't see the wolves because they are very quiet and seclusive.
Well, and Wolf Hollow too, I mean, you've got 2 sections of fencing, but they really welcome you. They give a wonderful, educational, engaging presentation.
I can't believe I've never visited. I have to go down and visit.
It's amazing. So
another thing we have in common.
yes.
I worked as a zookeeper, as I said.
Yep.
And one of my things was I taught wildlife education. I'm an inner city boy. I grew up in the streets.
I can't believe that about you, seeing you in the middle of Maine now.
I know. My mom raised 3 single boys in the inner city.
Yeah.
She worked really hard, 2 jobs.
Yep.
So we were off on our own quite a bit.
Yeah.
And but I was always fascinated in squirrels, pigeons, things like this. And
City animals.
and so when I got older, and I committed myself to teaching the inner city kids about wildlife, and I worked for the Boston Zoological Society.
So cool.
Now, but this isn't about me. I want to go into
I could listen to you all day, George.
One of the things I did was is one of my favorite presentations was with the owls.
Yeah. They're amazing.
And I believe you have some photographs?
I do, and these owls are from a rescue actually in York, Maine. They brought them out to the Joppa educational facilities on Plum Island. And so these are all rescued birds.
Plum Island's in Newburyport.
And yep. And
look at that.
yeah, the great horned owl.
Absolutely.
Spectacular. And the thing that I remember about owls is that, I'm just gonna go back there for
Let me hold this picture. That picture, perfect.
Yeah.
The texture, texture of the feathers, and you capture it, and those feathers, those wings sticking out like that.
Yeah.
They're not just like saying, "Okay, take my picture."
No.
You've got a fraction of a second to get the picture that you've taken.
And you have to be respectful. I think, at the core of everything that I've done with animals,
Look at that.
I am in awe of them, and I really respect. You have to watch them, and you have to be very aware of their body language, and you have to respect them, and they give you so much in return when you establish that respect. Even if it's tacit, and it's just by giving them distance, giving them space, not looking them in the eye, those
So like
types
a
of
domestic
things.
dog.
Yeah.
Speaking of
dogs.
look at that. Look at the feathering on this dog. So we talk about feathering on the birds, right? And then what comes up is this golden retriever with this beautiful feathering, and that's in a full run.
Oh yeah, that's out on a ranch in Virginia. That's actually
ranch in Virginia.
Paul Ludwig's dog.
Okay.
One of their rescue Goldens.
And when we get to the golden retriever again, if you're at home, look at this dog. You have to understand that this picture was taken with this dog running.
Yes.
This dog
My
was
favorites.
right there.
Yep.
And look at the feathering of the
dog.
tail, just going. The ears are caught straight up, and we know golden retrievers' ears are laid, they flat down. That's just a beautiful, on all 4 feet. Oh no, 1 foot's only gone.
Yep.
That's a magnificent shot right there.
Thank you.
How many pictures does your camera go?
I wish it did. I'd like to upgrade to that version. It's pretty fast, but timing is critical, and it goes back to that decisive moment and lots of experience, over 13 years of experience of really anticipating, having a really core understanding of different breeds and where their natural instincts lie.
Right.
And in this case, I've got a running golden versus a running Malinois or a running Dutch Shepherd, and their intentions are completely different.
Yes.
So like a running
Their
golden,
intentions, I like that.
he's running to his boy. They live on a farm, and he's got his sidekick he's running towards, excited to be there. And you turn we can go into some other images, but you get a Malinois in a full vest, military grade vest, and that dog's running like the dickens to attack somebody.
Let's talk about the canine
Guardians. Sure.
Because you have some action shots with them as well.
I do. So
tell us a little bit about who the Canine Guardians are and
Sure.
why you were there.
Okay, so the Canine Guardians is an upcoming documentary to be released in the next year, over 2015, hopefully. And is a project run by Paul Ludwig. He's now a retired police officer with the Baltimore Transit Police.
Look at that shot.
Yeah, and that's French ring sport, and that's a Dutch Shepherd going after the decoy, and nice extension. But Paul and his decoy, Sam Edmonds, who's one of the best in the country, if not the world, decoys, have worked diligently to show the critical training that's required of canine and military units out in the field, giving them every single possible scenario, thinking outside the box, and really bringing that training up to snuff to protect their handlers and everyday civilians in any kind of situation that's gone sideways,
But we know French ring sport is a very versatile, and you have to be flexible and stuff, but
Yeah.
what you're talking about is times 10.
Yeah, this is everyday, unpredictable. I mean, they have these dogs jumping off of docks into the Potomac to get a decoy. They have decoys in there trying to test their boundaries in the water, much like Mike Gritland, who trains Navy SEALs dogs.
You're telling me that you have a decoy in that suit in the water?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's a heavy,
It's a heavy suit. It adds a lot of weight. They still have to be able to move around in the water with a dog on them on a full bite.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Canine Guardians asked me to come in. I actually approached them. I said, I am just amazed at your trailer of what's to come, and do you need a still photographer? I'd really actually like to originally donate my time and talents to you guys. And they said, all right, well, let's, can you show us some of your work? I sent them some work that I'd done in ring sport.
Do you have some pictures of
The Canine Guardians?
The Canine
Yes,
Guardians?
I do. Maybe Steve can bring it up for us here. So that's another ring dog. So here's an image, actually, in the barn on Paul's property. A lot of it's done on, everything we've done with them is on location. And this is actually getting the dogs on patrol desensitized to flash bombs. The environment, the ground is all stone.
Oh, yeah.
The barn is hot. Literally, it was in the middle of July. And the decoy is outside frame right and sending him in on a SWAT type scenario.
Okay, yeah, as you see the dog.
Yep.
Being aware of dogs, you can see where he's looking.
Yeah,
That's
and
where the decoy is.
there's
That's pretty amazing, though, coming out of the dust like that.
Yeah.
That's like a movie,
Yeah, it is, and in this, they let me have full run. They saw how I worked, how I blended in, and they'd have days when we get to the end of the day of work, and they'd say, "I forgot you were here, Dawn." And that is the ultimate compliment I can get from a client.
Nice.
And it allows me to get shots like this. If they can forget about me, and I can respect where, also I had to be aware of where the cinematographer was, not to get in his shots, and to tell the story of these dogs, of the movie, and of the future of these incredible dogs that need this increased intensive training has been an honor. It truly has.
I love that shot right there.
Man,
it's coming out of the dust.
Yeah, and that's the American flag on the back of the barn, which has been really a signature part of their imagery.
You get some more?
Yeah. So this is out in the fields, and this is on a tack situation. This is a Belgian Malinois. And one of my favorite things to get with these working dogs, particularly the canine and military units, is the spit flying. I mean, they are geared up. They are hot and ready to
Oh,
move.
what?
This
Spit flying?
the spit flying out of their mouth.
Oh,
He's
the
got
spit
yeah.
flying.
Spit flying, showing action, showing motion,
Saliva.
you know. Saliva. I like good old-fashioned spit. They're in the South, they don't mind. But yeah, so, you know, these types of, you can see he's fully engaged. This dog is hot and ready to go in. These dogs will go through walls. They will jump off cliffs. They are intense. They're spectacular, and they're loyal.
Are you watching this, Merlin? Because this is where I want you to be someday, you know?
This is through some tall grass. Now, this grass was up to my thighs about, and this was another send, apprehension, gunshots, multiple gunshots fired, decoys at the end. Handler has gun and has shot off guns, and then the decoy is also armed and has shot off a series of rounds. So I'm kind of planted deep in the grass on my belly with a panning motion coming across with my camera.
Look at the muscle tone on that dog.
They are fit. These are athletes. They're athletes.
But your camera work was able to really show that this isn't just a dog running to a field. Yeah. This is this is
different than the golden retriever.
Oh,
this is one extreme to the other.
Absolutely.
For sure. Water apprehensions were a big part of their everyday training when they're located on the Potomac. And this is obviously in the summertime, but you know, these dogs will go in all year round. You know, if they've got a suspect that they need to get in the water, these dogs will go.
Especially in the summer.
Yeah, the dogs are loving it this day. So, you know, just showing again, movement, power, force, determination.
You can see it. That's the part that I'm going with this.
Yeah.
You can actually see the character of that dog.
Yeah, and they're intense, and you know, they're not house pets. You know, the Belgian Malinois become a big part of our newsreels that we see every day, Facebook feeds, because they had often they're doing military work. They're on Navy SEAL teams. They are, you know, out on the streets in patrol work now with a lot of the police departments because they are all trained. They're hard. They're loyal. They're dedicated. They have an intense guarding instinct. They can work away from their handlers very well.
And that's a big part.
And they're very easy to train. They're highly intelligent.
What I see in your work, and especially with these dogs, is these dogs have been conditioned. Some home dogs, excuse me, depending on the training that they've had for everyday things, is they show impressive intelligence and problem solving.
Yes, yes.
You do this, and you have to magnify that by
a lot.
a lot.
And you know, one of the things is that this is about conditioning as well. It's about desensitizing to, you know, temperament, to terrain, to what's the natural instinct of the particular dog. Not every dog is cut out for this work.
That's
testing them.
Yes.
And one of the biggest core pieces of education I've gotten from working with the canine guardians is from Sam, the decoy. You know, he tests these dogs. His job is to put pressure on them, to push them, to get them to go into places that most dogs would turn and run the other direction. Most people would too. And he's like, you got to just know if the dog has heart or not. You can't put heart into a dog. You can train them till the cows come home.
Right.
But a dog either has it or they don't. And my job is to find those dogs.
I'd like to transfer, if we can now, from Canine Connection to Family Pets with that thought.
Yeah.
A lot of people get dogs and they say they want to go do agility or they want to do something. No matter how much we want them to do it, we can do the training if the dog doesn't have the heart or the physical ability.
Yeah.
And that you've got to look at your dog, what their desire is, what is their physical ability to do something, and match games for your dog, not your dog for the games.
Right, exactly. And I've learned that too with
there you go.
This is a bulldog.
This
guy's not so much agility.
I mean, he's not a water retrieving dog.
He's not, but he loves the beach. I did this on the beach, a very cold day, again, out on Salisbury Beach State Reservation. And this was a private commission for a client's a house pet.
That's
and
marvelous.
Man, he just, that face, I mean, you just love that. You know, my private commission clients are super expressive. This is where I really get to see a range of personalities. You know, the Mals, I kind of know what I'm getting. Dutchies, I know what I'm getting, and I can anticipate differently in that type of format of shooting versus this is like it's all in, you're gonna go with the flow, let's see what this dog wants to offer me. And he just was
And each
such a
breed
love.
is different, and then the
Yeah.
dogs within the breed are different.
Yes, exactly.
When you get your
exactly.
working dogs, you got a pretty good consistency
Yes.
of what to expect from a
Yes.
dog that's proved itself.
And this working dog is on his back.
There's a picture right there, yeah, of my working dog, yeah, chilling out.
Oh God. So I have a lot of labs that I've photographed over time, of course, and they always want to be right with you. They're amazing.
Little divas.
Yeah, yeah, and then border
yeah.
collies,
Yeah.
of course, going to have something in their mouth at all times. And more. This is
that's
like a
made of
Chessie
shake.
lab mix, a nice shake of the water. Pointer flying out with a retrieve. This was done in Pennsylvania.
This here. This is what I want to suggest. All these. This one's the next one, and these are the pictures that I'm hoping people will. When they want to get portraits of the dog, we think of the symbol portrait.
Right.
And some of my favorite pictures of my boys is, them in the middle of doing something and not just posing. And the reason being is you can see their character.
Yeah, this is the real deal. Dogs are what you see is what you're going to get. And, I'll do a little bit of the posing for the client.
Absolutely.
I ask them what they want because they've commissioned me to create something for them, and I also reach an agreement with them that they'll let me do my thing and show their dog in the most natural light possible and their everydayness. And for me, this is actually my other old girl, Honeycomb. She's my Mal mix that I rescued from Save a Dog. This is how she rolls when we're out in weather like this in the snow. She wants to be busting through that snow. So for me, this is her. This is how I want to remember her. She's 13 now, and this is how she's always been. And the highest compliment a private commission client can give me is you've captured my dog right down to the whiskers. Like that's my dog.
A curious question. Yeah. You do the posing, and then you do the action candid shots. Mm-hmm. Do you find that the clients, they say, well, I want a nice profile shot. Then all of a sudden you find that they're really being drawn to seeing because, oh my God, you caught my boy.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're like, how am I going to choose what to keep? And, part of what I do as an artist as well is that I guide my clients to help pick the best images. Once I see what they love, I'll tell them, I'm not going to talk you into a photograph, but once you show me everything that you love about your session, my job is to get you those photographs on the wall, in an album, on your desk at work, like wherever you need them, but let's get you the best of the best that really makes your heart sing when you look at the image.
I agree. I have two beautiful pictures of, stuff like this. To me, look at that, that's love.
It is. This is a friend of mine, and this is another rescue dog, Bogey, and he had actually been lost for a couple of days. We had to go on a little dog hunt for him. He went on a walkabout, we call it.
I'm glad he's home. He's
home, and this was just, I happened to cross paths with him, taking the dog out, and I said, oh my God, Kristen. And I said, can I take a few pictures of you guys? She's like, sure. And she forgot I was there. We're just having a chat. She forgot I had my camera and got this. And she said she has this on her backdrop on her computer at work. She loves it.
That's beautiful.
She said, that's how I feel about my dog. You captured the love.
Well, we're going to have your contact on the screen, and so I want folks to contact you and ask more questions.
Absolutely.
And also, folks, if you want, you can contact the station if you want to see more stuff like this. You want to learn more about what Dawn has to offer. We could sit here for easily another half hour, 2 hours, have a cup of coffee, and by the time we finish, it might be happy hour. Well, I think
that'd be fine with me.
Yeah, but they don't let happy hour anymore in Maine.
No,
I think they stopped it.
In Boston, they don't either. But we can have our own happy hour.
Okay, we'll bring our own. And so there's so much to talk about and so little time. So I hope this helped you folks tremendously. So if you're interested, contact Dawn, talk to her, ask her questions that we didn't cover. If you have something that you would like to see more like this, contact the station, contact me directly, and let's have fun with our dogs. Folks, I want to appreciate you, letting you know, coming and joining me and spending my time. As I've always loved watching you work, but usually I'm in the middle of work competing or doing something, and I'm not a competitor. I prefer to live with my dog, but I have a goal in front of us. And but no matter how old our dogs are, they still need the activity, they still need the energy. And if you're an older dog, folks, talk to Dawn. Capture the older dog, because older dogs have something to offer that you won't see. Puppies, everybody loves puppies. But you know what? When you look at your old dog, you have a love for that dog because of the memories that come with it. And I want you to remember, they're never with us long enough. They leave us way too early, and I want you to really look at your dog and think what you can do to do this, because folks, really, at the end of the day, it is all about the dog. Thanks for joining us.